Your spiritual self connects you to the sacred, the supernatural, and to the universe. It enables the person to experience oneness with a supreme deity, and it is developed through interaction, observation, and imitation of your immediate social environment. But what is spirituality? How is spirituality defined? So, you may encounter many different definitions of spirituality based on the person that you're asking. It could be defined as the search for the sacred, it could be defined as the meaning and purpose in one's life, or a search for wholeness, or a relationship with a transcendent being. Your spirituality influences you through faith, hope, and love. And your spirituality is connected with your religion. It is through spirituality, or it is through religion, that your spirituality can be expressed. Religion, on the other hand, is an organized system of ideas about the spiritual sphere along with associated ceremonial practices by which people try to interpret and influence aspects of the universe beyond their control. Now, there are many different religions. Catholicism is just one of the many religions in the world. And we will be discussing the major religions that is present in our society. So first we have Buddhism. So Buddhism believes in Siddhartha Gautama or Buddha. Buddha is or was the son of an Indian king warrior, and he led an extravagant life through early adulthood. So Gautama reveled in the privileges of his social caste. When he got bored of the indulgences of royal life, Gautama wandered into the world in search of understanding. After encountering an old man, an ill man, a corpse, and an ascetic or a monk, Gautama was convinced that suffering lay at the end of all existence. Gautama then renounced his princely title and became a monk, where he deprived himself of worldly possessions in the hope of comprehending the truth of the world around him. The culmination of his search came while he was meditating beneath a tree. It was then he finally understood how to be free from suffering and how to achieve salvation. Following this event, Gautama was known as the Buddha, which means the enlightened one. He spent the remainder of his life journeying throughout India, teaching others what he had come to understand. Despite despite popular claims, or despite what people might think of Buddhism, Buddhism doesn't acknowledge a supreme god or deity. And although they revere Buddha, Buddhists know that Buddha is an extremely extraordinary man, but he was man nonetheless. He was just a man. He was not a god. So there is no deity in Buddhism. So the goal of Buddhists is to achieve nirvana, or what they call the state of enlightenment. Buddhism also believes in karma, which is the good or bad actions a person takes during his or her lifetime. So karma is weighed and is determined by five conditions, which you see on your screen. So we have frequent repetitive action, we have determined intentional action, action performed without regret, action against extraordinary persons, and action towards those who have helped in the past. And the Buddhist monks are known as bhikkhus, and they follow a strict code of conduct, and they're well known for their vow of celibacy. There are three major types of Buddhism. We have Theravada, Mahayana, and Tibetan Buddhism. And as you can see, um, they differ based on geographical location. So, for instance, Mahayana Buddhism is practiced in China, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, Singapore, and Vietnam, while Theravada Buddhism is practiced in Thailand, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Laos, and Burma. So, one of the major beliefs of Buddhism is called the Four Noble Truths. So, it is the essence of the teachings of Buddhism. It states that suffering exists, it has a cause, and it has an end. And it has a cost to bring about its end. So, the first noble truth is dukkha, or the truth of suffering. The second one is samudaya, or the truth of the cause of suffering. It is desire and ignorance causes suffering. So how does desire cause suffering? So when we crave pleasure, material goods, and immortality, you will never be satisfied. And it will only bring you suffering because you will never be satisfied. There will always be something sweeter, something newer, something greater than what you currently possess. And how is ignorance a cause of suffering? So not ignorance causes suffering by not seeing the world as it actually is. Without the capacity for mental concentration and insight, one's mind is left undeveloped, unable to grasp the true nature of things. And ignorance often leads to greed, envy, hatred, and anger. So when you don't understand something, you are bound to get angry with it. You're bound to be jealous of it. You are bound to want it because you don't know what it is. So the third noble truth is the truth of the end of suffering, or nirvana. And then the fourth is magga, or the truth of the path that frees us from suffering. So basically, the Four Noble Truths in a gist means that there is suffering, suffering has a cause, suffering has an end, and suffering has a cause to bring about its end. So, how do you stop suffering according to Buddhism? So, in order to avoid suffering, you have to follow the Eightfold Path. We have right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So by following this, by acting justly, by speaking correctly, thinking rightly, you you will avoid suffering. So the next major religion that we're going to discuss is Christianity. So is a monotheistic Christianity is a monotheistic religion. And despite it having three branches, it has these common beliefs, like it follows the Bible. The Bible contains 66 books, which is divided into two. We have the Old Testament and the New Testament. So the Old Testament contains the history of the Jewish people. It contains or it outlines the specific rules that we need to follow. It tells us the lives of prophets, and it predicts the coming of Messiah. So again, there are three branches of Christianity. We have Catholic or Roman Catholicism, we have Protestantism or Protestant, and we have Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox. So, I want you to read more about how Christianity was divided into three. So, I will give you a clue. It involves two major events. One is the Great Schism, and the second one is the Protestant Reformation. So read about these two major events and you will understand how and why Christianity now has three branches. So Protestantism and Roman Catholicism are well known, especially in the Philippines, because the Philippines is um it it it's mostly made up of Roman Catholics. But there are also Protestants in our midst. We have INC, we have Seventh Day Adventist. So daghan pud og klase-klase nga branches sa Protestantism. But the Eastern Orthodox Church is not well known in Asia because it is mostly situated in Europe. So, what are the similarities between Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholicism? So, we have um, an interpretation of the different sacraments. Also, at the same time, it is similar in a way that it is the church's responsibility to ensure that faith does not disintegrate into conflicting chaos. But how is Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholicism different? First, it limits the articles of faith to only those mentioned in the Bible. So, wala na'y appeal ang wala gi-mention sa Bible. What are those? What are the articles of faith not mentioned in the Bible? Look it up. Unsa ang mga articles of faith nga na-mention sa Bible and unsa ang wala? Look it up. The second difference is that the church cannot initiate doctrines like Immaculate Conception and Purgatory. So, since these are not mentioned in the Bible, the Eastern Orthodox Church doesn't believe it. The next major religion that we will discuss is Hinduism. So, Hinduism is the world's oldest religion, and it is the third largest religion next to Christianity and Islam. So, first largest religion is Christianity, followed by Islam. Third is Hinduism. It is henotheistic in nature, meaning they worship a single deity but recognize other gods and goddesses. Hinduism believes in samsara, which means continuous cycle of life after death and reincarnation. Atman is belief in soul, or they believe that every living creature has a soul, and it is part of the Supreme Soul. So, puja is their term for worship, and mandir is their term for temple. So, you puja in a mandir. So, puja is verb, mandir is noun. So what you see in screen are two of the primary symbols of Hinduism. And no, that is not the symbol of Nazi. They actually, the Nazis actually got it from Hinduism. So we have the Om and the swastika. The Om is the one in the left and the swastika is the one on the right. So the Om is composed of three Sanskrit letters and it represents three sounds, A, U, and M. which when combined are considered a sacred sound in Hinduism. Swastika, on the other hand, means good fortune or being happy in Sanskrit. So, the primary sacred texts of Hinduism are known as Vedas. So, we have four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. Rig Veda is the oldest of the four Vedas, and it consists of 1028 hymns praising the ancient gods. Yajur Veda, the second one, is a handbook by priests performing Vedic sacrifices. The third Veda, Samaveda, consists of chants and tunes for singing at the sacrifices. And the fourth Veda preserves many traditions which predate the Aryan influence and consists of spells, charms, and magic formulas. So these are the primary sacred texts of Hinduism. Now, I mentioned that Hinduism is henotheistic in nature. So they believe in one God. They have one supreme God who is Brahma. So Brahma is the God responsible for the creation of the world and all living things. So their supreme deity is Brahma, but they also believe in other gods. They recognize other gods beside Brahma. We have Vishnu. Vishnu is the god that preserves and protects the universe. We have Shiva. Shiva is the god that destroys the universe in order to recreate it. We have Devi. Devi is the goddess that fights to restore Dharma. Krishna is the god of compassion, tenderness, and love. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and purity. And Saraswati is the goddess of learning. So the different sects of Hinduism is purely based on which god they follow. So we have Shaivism, Vaishnava, Shaktism, and Smarta. Shaivism are the followers of Shiva. Vaishnava, the followers of Vishnu. Shaktism, the followers of Devi. And Smarta, the followers of Brahman and all major deities. So that's it for Hinduism. Next, we move to Islam, or the second largest religion to date in the world. Islam started in Mecca, which is modern day Saudi Arabia. The word Islam means submission to the will of God. And the followers of Islam are called Muslim. So their God is called Allah. Islam teaches that Allah's word was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad through angel Gabriel. And Islam is monotheistic, meaning they believe in one God, Allah. Their place of worship is called mosque, and their major holy text is called the Quran. It was written with Allah speaking through Gabriel to Muhammad, and it contains 114 surahs, surahs, or 114 chapters. So, what is the story of Prophet Muhammad? The Prophet Muhammad was born in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, in 570 AD. Muslims believe he was the final prophet sent by God to reveal their faith to mankind. According to Islamic texts and tradition, an angel named Gabriel visited Muhammad in 610 AD while he was meditating in a cave. Gabriel ordered Muhammad to recite the words of Allah. So Muslims believe that Muhammad continued to receive the revelations from Allah throughout the rest of his life. Starting in 613 AD, Muhammad began preaching throughout Mecca the messages he received. He taught that there was no other God but Allah and that Muslims should devote their lives to Allah. So, Islam is divided into two. There are two major sects in Islam. We have the Sunnis and the Shiites. The Sunnis make up nearly 90% of Muslims worldwide, and the Shiites, the remaining 10%. So, what is the difference between the Sunnis and the Shiites? The Sunnis believe and accept that the first four caliphs were the true successors to Muhammad, while the Shiite Muslims believe that only Caliph Ali and his descendants are the real successors to Muhammad. So, unsa ning caliphs? Caliphs are the successors of Muhammad. So, it was believed that after Muhammad, who preceded him was Caliph Abu Bakr. Then after he died, there was Caliph Umar, followed by Caliph Uthman and Caliph Ali. So again, the Sunnis, they believe and they accept that um kadto nga line of um line of descendants. So Muhammad, followed by Abu Bakr, followed by Umar, followed by Uthman, and followed by Ali. So the Sunnis believed and accepted that this was the line of succession. The Shiite Muslims, on the other hand, believe that si Ali ra or si Caliph Ali ang tinuod nga successor ni Muhammad. Wala nila gi-accept si Abu Bakr, Caliph Umar, and Caliph Uthman as descendants of Muhammad because apparently they believe that ang kadtorang related ni Muhammad by blood ang dapat mo sunod niya. So Islam believes in or the belief in Islam is centered in its five pillars. We have Shahada, Salat, Zakat, Saum, and Hajj. Shahada means to declare one's faith in Allah and belief in Muhammad. Salat is praying 5 times a day at dawn, noon, afternoon, sunset, and evening. Zakat is to give to those in need. Saum is to fast during Ramadan, and Hajj is to make a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once during a person's lifetime if the person is able. So, the final or the last major major world religion that we will talk about is Judaism. So, Judaism believes that God established a covenant with them. Their place of worship is called a synagogue. And the main symbol of Judaism is the Star of David, the six pointed Star of David, which you see on the screen. The sacred text of Judaism is called Tanakh. It includes the same books as the Old Testament, but in a different order. Torah are the first five books of the Tanakh, and it outlines laws for Jews to follow. Torah is also known as the Pentateuch. So Judaism was founded by Abraham. And Shabbat is the day of rest and prayers for the Jews. So it starts on the sunset of Friday and ends on the nightfall of Saturday. So I want you to look up or to read more on the difference and the similarities between Judaism and Christianity. Because we have similar beliefs, we have similar practices, and how are we different? Look it up. It will be included in your midterm exam, as well as how um how Christianity was divided into the three branches. So if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to email it to me and I will answer you as best as I can.